Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. Wednesday is the day that we're doing this. Yes. Happy Wednesday, everyone. I want to say thank you for joining me. I am really excited about today's session because I'm taking it back. I'm taking it back to just some very um, basics and fundamentals in intuitive development. But the reason I'm doing this is because I think that we all need this right now. So it's super fun. It's what I used to teach everybody all the time. Now I've built courses out on it. And so I always have people like they're going through the courses and then we're doing coaching on the side. But I miss teaching and talking about all of the basics. I love it. It's super fun. So you might see me with like a couple notes today just because I want to give you a full lesson and I want to stay on track. So I'm super excited about that. But first, I want to talk about the meditation I had this morning. Holy moly. Every day I will do a meditation where I sit down and I journal about my ideal day, and then I'll meditate on that. I'll visualize it. I'll really get into the feeling of it. And then, I'll sit there and I'll see if I have anything come through from my guides. But today was different. So I did that, but I actually listened to some shamanic journey drumming versus the binaural beats that I've been listening to for the past month. And I went fully out of body. It was amazing. Like, we have okay meditations, we have decent meditations, we have good meditations. This was like very, very amazing. I don't know. It was a really good meditation. So, in that meditation, I was actually really pulled to release something new. And if you got my email earlier, I put that in there. But I'll talk about that later. I'm just super pumped. I feel really good today. I got up this morning and I realized that I'm very sore from doing Pilates yesterday, which I used to do Pilates all the time. I will do yoga sometimes. But as most of you know, like I go to the gym a lot. So I'm really doing like heavy lifting and stuff like that. So being at home working out, it's been kind of boring if I'm going to be honest. But, and so like I did this little 30-minute like XB Pilates thing yesterday and I am feeling it today. So I worked out this morning, but not as good as I normally would if I'm being honest. So that's me. That's my day. I have worked out today. I have meditated today. I journaled today. I got a whole bunch of stuff done while I was in that creative flow. So let's talk about that really quick. A message that I got yesterday, I actually got this for one of my clients, but I'm really glad that we did it because I haven't sat down and done a lot of meditating on what's going on in the world today, what it means for us. I've really been just focused on trying to lift other people up and out of it. I haven't done a lot of spirit work on it for myself. And so my client asked a question around it, and her question was, what am I supposed to be doing now? What am I supposed to be doing when this is over? Like, I just feel like I'm supposed to be doing something, but I also feel like I'm doing the right thing. I just need to know what's going on. So I got a download for her, and that download was we're not really supposed to be doing any. For her, it was she wasn't supposed to be doing anything. For most of us, we're not really supposed to be doing that much in the sense of we're not meant to be pushing right now. Okay, so yes, some of us still have work to do, and there are still things to be done around the house, etc., etc. But when it comes to worrying and being frantic and thinking we're not doing enough, thinking we need to be planning our next move and what are we going to be doing next year and so on and so on and so on, we're not meant to be doing much right now. We're meant to just be breathing and learning how to be present. And this is a big thing because most of us don't know how to be present. I listened to some Eckhart Tolle yesterday from one of his books, And he was talking about being in the now and how we can never not be in the now. So many people are like, well, if I only worry about the now, then I won't have goals, and I won't have things that I'll hit in the future, and I won't have anywhere that I'm going. And if I only focus on the now, then the past that I had won't shape me, and I won't take those lessons with me. And the ego mind steps in, and that's how we think. That's how we're programmed. I think the same way. But what he says is, if you go back to the past, when that situation happened, it happened in the now. Then, in that moment, it was in the now. So if you're thinking about it now, you're bringing it to now. In the future won't happen until it's in the now. Like, it can't happen right now. It hasn't happened yet. It's happening in the now. And so that's how we can start to bring ourselves back to center and just calm down a little bit and say, okay, I can be in the now. I can be present right now. And that's what we're meant to be doing right now. We're meant to be finding our presence, learning how to be present, hey, Christina. Yes, Adam, learning how to be human beings. You're absolutely right. So learning how to be present, learning how to be human beings. We're supposed to be slowing down and honestly getting in touch with who we are again. And I think I may have said this last week, I can't remember, but we're supposed to be learning about ourselves. We're supposed to be learning who we are, what drives us, what pushes us. And, for me, the only way to do that is to connect with your higher self, to connect with your spirit team, to connect with your intuition and be led. And so as you connect with your intuition, you don't have to be a psychic. You don't have to be a medium. We are all divine beings. We are all spirit. We are all intuitive in our own ways. And that shows up every single day if we know what the heck we're looking for, okay? So I want to ask, there's a few people on right now, so if you guys could jump in the comments for me really quick. When someone says the word intuitive, what does that mean to you? Like, what's the first thing that pops into your head? I know for a lot of people, hearing the word intuitive, they think medium, or they think the word psychic, or when they hear those words, what then comes to mind? Like a crystal ball, or somebody telling the future, or, somebody being a scam artist, or whatever. Like, let's just be real here. When I used to hear the word psychic, that's what came to my mind. Instinct, yes, that's instinct. That's exactly what intuition is. And, sorry, my little one's at home, so I just can't tell if he's playing outside the door or not. Having an automatic awareness of truth or direction, a gut feeling. Yeah, all of these are right, but not everyone thinks this way. So if you talk to someone who is not as open-minded or familiar or aware, to me it really means awareness. That's what intuition means to me. When you talk to someone who's not there yet, for them it's still very woo-woo, okay? And so what I want to do today is show you guys how to become aware of your intuition and to even see how it's playing out for you throughout each and every day. Okay, so like I said, I do have a little bit of notes here today just because I actually want to stay on track today and I want to really teach you guys something, give you guys some good content. So, like I said before, different intuitives receive their information differently. Okay, and we are all intuitive. We're all intuitive on different levels, whether we realize it or not. I guarantee you every single person on this call has had a knowing where they knew something, they knew what somebody was going to say, they knew somebody's character, they knew that a job wasn't the right fit for them, they knew the right thing to say, the right thing to do, or even what the person was going to say on TV next. You guys knew that. At some point you have known that. That is your intuition speaking to you. Okay, and for those of us that are very clairvoyant, we may not realize it when somebody's talking to us and all of a sudden we start see the story that they're telling, we actually see like a movie inside our mind and we're looking at them, but we're seeing something play out in our head. It's very, very different than what the media and what people think that clairvoyance is, okay? Clairvoyance isn't seeing dead people walking around everywhere. Quite frankly, that would be very startling if we did, okay? So now let's talk about the four main clairs. So you have clairvoyance, which is clear seeing. And we're going to really dive a little bit deeper into each one of these. But you have clairvoyance, which is clear seeing. Clairsentience, which is clear feeling. So tingles on the skin, a gut knowing, knowing someone's character. Claircognizance, which is what I just talked about, where you have known something. You have known without a doubt something, and you have been right. And clairaudience, which is, if I'm being honest, my favorite, because that is my strongest gift, and it's clear hearing. It usually starts out as hearing, different noises that no one else hears, or we'll get into some of the more dynamic ways that it shows up in a minute. But these people are the ones that you generally get your advice from. Your really, really good advice, and they don't even know that they're giving it to you most of the time. Okay, so clairvoyance. Here are some signs of clairvoyance. There's vivid dreams. Clairvoyant people have very, very, very vivid dreams. We have vivid dreams. For me, it was, and this is part of why I was afraid of my gifts for so long, nightmares. I used to have really, really, really bad, very intense nightmares. Mine progressed to the point where when I finally started accepting my gifts, I was having dreams of one of my good friends that had passed from a drug overdose. It was years after he had passed, and he started showing up to me, and he was being like mean and nasty in my dreams, and it kept happening until finally I just said one day in my dream, I'm like, Chris, you've got to stop. You cannot come to me like this anymore, or you have to be nice when you come to me. You can't come to me like this, how you're being, or you just can't come here anymore. Something like that. I just messed my words up. But the pivotal moment for me was that he stopped. Like, he stopped coming. And then I was kind of freaked out too, because I'm like, what is going on here? And then I kept having more and more friends show up like that. But when I was younger, it was paralyzing nightmares every single night. And the reason for this, I'm jumping ahead, I always do this, but the reason for this is because when you're very intuitive, especially when you are someone who is meant to connect with the other side and deliver those messages, Spirit will try to connect with you however they can. And you're most receptive when you're sleeping. But if you're very intuitive and you're unaware, or you're unaware of how to protect yourself, you're kind of like this really bright light on a really dark shore. Or actually, I like to think of it like this. You're a really bright light in the middle of summer at night. And so any and everything that can see you, so I'm thinking bugs here, any and everything that can see you, they're coming to you, they're coming to you, they're coming to you. And for those that don't have as much light, they want to take that light. They can't hurt you, but they want to take that light. For those that are, the bugs that you do want, like the good things, the ladybugs and stuff, I don't know where my analogy's going, but for the good things that you do want, you want their light. You want their light to help lift your light. And so you've got to start setting boundaries. And this is why many of us have nightmares, because we don't even know that we have a light. We don't even know that we're capable of this. We don't know what boundaries we're supposed to be setting. Okay? So we have vivid dreams. When your clairvoyance starts to progress and your third eye is more open, when you close your eyes to go to sleep at night, you will see faces, you will see colors, you will see geometrical shapes, you will see all kinds of things. For me, and I know for a lot of the people that I work with, they'll see full-on movies when they close their eyes, or like thousands and thousands of faces at night, and they're like, what do I do with this? But we're not really meant to do anything at that point with them. It's more of just a clue most of the time. This goes a lot deeper, guys, but I've got like an hour here. So when we see those, most of the time, it's just to let us know, hey, you have this capability. Hey, you can do this. Whenever you're ready, we're here. Okay? So another sign of clairvoyance is seeing sparkles, seeing flecks. If you want to do an exercise, going outside, taking a few deep breaths, getting grounded, and not staring at the sun. Okay, don't look at the sun, common sense, but look at the sky. Look at just along the edge of the trees and the sky, and you'll likely see an aura or some sparkles, and this is a sign of clairvoyance. You're seeing energy. So seeing visions during meditation, seeing colors during meditation, seeing fuzzy air. So a lot of people see spirit, especially landlocked spirit like ghosts or something. They'll see that we don't see most of the time full on people walking around. Most of us don't. But what we will see will be like a fuzzy air, or it will look like a heat wave, or it will look like something just flew past our peripheral. This is something that happened to me when I was a kid, and I journaled about it, and my mom found it. She was totally freaked out because in my journal, I'm like, yeah, I always see people like walking into doors, and I did. I really did. I would just see out of my peripheral like people going in and out of doors. And so this was me actually seeing spirit. I never saw it dead on. It was out of my peripheral. As I grew older and as I blocked it out, it kind of stopped, and then I've opened it back up to where now I see with my third eye mostly, or I see sparkles and flecks. Colors are my favorite thing to see. If you're kind of sitting in your living room or you're just doing something and out of the corner of your eye you see a bright flash of light and you see color, you can be really secure and happy knowing that this is a guide or an angel coming to visit you, and it's a surefire sign that you're clairvoyant as well. So another way that clairvoyance, or that you can identify yourself as a clairvoyant, is that we are often very, very attracted to aesthetically pleasing things, okay? So I already mentioned, we'll see colors, but actually being really pulled towards colors, being really pulled towards design, pulled towards art, pulled towards, for me, I've always been into art, but one of my really, really big things over the past couple of years is just to sit, and I'm doing it right now as I'm talking to you guys, just like marvel at the view from my backyard, because there's so many different kinds of trees. There's so many different colors. There's yellows and greens and purples, and then the sky. Like, we are just really, really drawn to aesthetically pleasing things. And again, this can be art, this can be design, this can be color, this can be shape. If you are someone who is very visual, your visual things appeal to you, or you're very visual in that you see and plan things out in your mind, or you need a list, or you just have to you learn visually, you learn by someone showing you and then you doing it. These are all signs of being clairvoyant. And so I wanted to take it from the more woo-woo down to earth to show you that these things show up every single day. And this is how you can start to identify yourself with which might be your strongest gift, okay? So let's take it to clairaudience. My notes are a little out of order, but that's okay. I don't really need all of them. I just need to keep on track. So clairaudience. Clairaudience is you might hear like a buzzing, for me, when I was tuning into my clairaudience, when I was learning about it and deciding that I want to work with it, I would hear like a bzz, or like it would hear like a pop or like a high-pitched tune that no one else heard. So all of these things I was hearing, and they were actually signs that I was raising my frequency, that I was hearing at higher frequencies, which means that you're hearing spirit. Okay, so it sounds like radio zaps, radio tuning, buzzes, pops, ringing in the ears. These are signs that you're clairvoyant and that your gifts are trying to, turn up. Sorry, give me one second. Oh, okay, I can't, my mouse isn't working to see the comments. This happened last time too. That's okay. So another thing with clairaudience is hearing thumps, banging, music, people talking, different sounds in the house or wherever you're at that other people do not hear. And they can be so external and so real that you might turn to your partner or whoever's sitting with you and say, "Did you just hear that?" And they look at you like you're crazy. In my old house that I believe had the spirit of someone seeking someone that they knew, I would hear upstairs from what was my son's bedroom, and I told this story in another live, so I'm not going to go there again, but I kept hearing like thumps. I was hearing banging from that room, like a stomping, like a boom, boom, boom. Someone stomping on the floor. When I was over there painting the garage before we moved in, I would hear those same sounds. When we went to a friend's house to stay the night in their guest bedroom, I was taking a shower and I came downstairs and I asked my husband what he needed, and he's like, I wasn't up there. I don't know what you're talking about. I heard a man's voice. I heard a man's voice talking to me out loud to where I responded. And later on, we talked to our friends, and they said, "Oh yeah, we don't go in that room. We've all heard like a man's voice in there." So this is how clairaudience shows up. Okay, it also shows up as being, so when we take it down a little bit, back down to earth, it shows up as being very overwhelmed by noises, specifically noises that too many noises at once, but also noises that you don't want to hear. So let me break it down for you. I can go to a concert and I can be just fine. I'll love it because I'll feel it in my body. I vibe with the music. I'm feeling great. However, when there is music playing and at a reasonable volume, people are talking, there are pans clanking, it's like I will go crazy. It's like nails on a chalkboard to me. I'm being pulled in all different directions is what it feels like. It's very, very difficult for me. When I'm in a room, say we're at a party or something, and multiple people are having conversations in that room, it's very overwhelming for a clairaudient person because we have a hard time tuning into just one conversation because we're clairaudient. Our hearing goes to we tune into every single noise that is around us, and it can be extremely overwhelming, which is another reason why, sorry, I'm trying to get this mouse to work so I can read y'all's comments, which is another reason why oh my goodness, which is another reason why we have a hard time, going in crowds and the grocery store, and that has to be with being clairsentient and empathic as well. But here's another thing that I didn't learn until I was a couple years into this already. So as a clairaudient person, you're feeling vibrations on another level, okay? So I used to get so upset when I was a kid because I had the room above the garage and my stepdad's man cave was in the garage. So I would be sleeping, trying to get ready to go to school the next day, and he would be partying by himself in the garage, and the music really wouldn't be loud. But I would freak out. I would get my mom, I would get him, and it would just turn into this whole dramatic scene as a teenager. But I kept telling them, I hear background noise. I hear background noise. I can't sleep. I can hear the background noise. And what I was actually explaining to them, because I didn't have the verbiage and I didn't know how to articulate it, was I could feel that everything that was going on in the garage, I could feel it in my body, and I could hear it on another level, and it was like nails on a chalkboard to me. So for clairaudient people, noises, even soft, low noises, they can be very agitating if we're not sure how to tune out of them, okay? But on the flip side of that, being really attracted to music, especially certain types of music, being really pulled and aligned with messages and words and things that people say, feeling people's words on a really deep level, feeling lyrics on a really deep level, feeling music, the drum, the guitar, having it speak to your soul, those are also signs of being clairaudient, okay? And then my favorite one, the one that we all do, the one that shows most of us that we're actually clairaudient, I keep wanting to say clairvoyant, clairaudient, is that people come to you, they spew their life story on you or their problems or whatever's going on, they lay it on you. And you, without missing a beat, have all the advice that they've ever needed. You know exactly what to say to them. You're rambling it off and it's going and it's going and it's going and it's going and it's going. And then at the end of it, you're like, what did I just say? You don't even know what you just said. You don't remember all of it. You don't have any clue where that advice came from. That is actually channeling, guys. And most of us that are clairaudient do it without even knowing it, especially before we have a handle on our gifts. So if you are someone that people come to and then you just have all the advice that they need, you're generally channeling. And then also if you're someone that talks to themselves a lot, and I mean a lot, you are likely clairaudient because you're probably, if you sit down and you notice it, and I can teach this to you, but you kind of tune into it, you can learn the difference between your ego talking to you, your higher self talking to you, your spirit guides talking to you, and anybody else that wants to talk to you. So my dog's getting agitated for some reason. I'm probably talking too much for him. But so these are other ways that you can tell that you're clairaudient. Okay, clairsentience. So clairsentience is clear feeling. And it's a really fun one to play around with because it's more tangible than some of the other ones. If you see me moving all around, it's my dog. I don't know what his problem is. But so clairsentience you can play around with in that you can walk up and you can feel the energy of a tree, feel the energy of a plant, feel the energy of your dog, of a person. But the way that you start to identify it, stop, sit down, sit. Just like you guys, I have dogs that have a mind of their own. Sit. He's a very talkative dog. He's kind of like a person in that he is 85 pounds. He likes to have his nails filed, not cut, and he believes that he can sit in my lap still. Also, he talks. He just talks to me. So, back to clairsentience. Okay, so clairsentience is clear feeling. Most of us will be able to identify this by feeling tingles on the scalp, tingles on the arm, feeling like something's crawling on us and nothing's there, feeling like someone's watching us, someone's in the room for us. And this was a big one for me too, especially when I was in my other house. Like I talked about, I would be taking a shower, no one would be home. I would feel like someone was standing right there. I always felt like there was someone standing at the end of my bed in that house, someone standing in the downstairs bathroom. Like it was just this constant feeling of being watched and feeling like someone was there no matter what I did. I'm going to pause for a second. Come on. Now what's going to happen is they're going to bark and scratch at the door. So anyways, so you can literally feel the presence of someone. If you meditate and then all of a sudden you start feeling tingles or you feel just this energy around you, and if the way that you can do this is meditate, get grounded, connect with your breath, start to expand your awareness to your body, expand your awareness just a little bit outside of you and notice what that feels like. And then expand your awareness a little bit more to about 2 feet outside of you. Notice what it feels like. And then you can do it to the room, however big you want to do it, and then bring it back in to about 2 to 3 feet around you. And if you call in your spirit guides, notice if you start to feel some energy around you, like someone's standing there. This is clairsentience, okay? So another way to work with or to use clairsentience is to go like this, drum up some energy in your hands, start to feel the energy. Let me get you can see the energy in between your hands, and then expand it, contract, contract. You can do this by setting the intention to feel the energy of a house plant by doing the same thing, putting your hands very close to the plant, moving them away, moving them closer, and just noticing the difference in vibration. And you will feel it. It's going to be very subtle. And so I should explain that with all of the physical clairsentience signs and symptoms is they're very subtle. It's a very subtle energy, just like the wind, gently blowing on your arm. It's always there. Do you always notice it? Do you always feel it? No, because you need to bring an awareness to it. And that is, I mentioned this in the beginning, to me, intuition is awareness. And with any of the gifts, it's first bringing it down to notice that this stuff is always here. It's always around us. It's always here. We're always being led. We're always being guided. We can always feel. We can always see. We can always hear. We can always know. First, we need to just start bringing our awareness back to the things that we've become numb to, like the wind, like, the water when we take a shower or wash our hands, actually beginning to feel that again, visualizing the gusts of wind when we're outside, and just really tuning in to the sounds around us, the ones that we can hear. The more that you can fine-tune your awareness on the things that are right in front of you that you no longer notice, the easier it's going to be to tune into your intuition, your intuitive abilities, as they come, okay? So taking it back to clairsentience, another way that you can tell you are clairsentient is, one, if you're an empath. Obviously, if you're an empath, you're going to be clairsentient on some levels. Now, it varies, in degree, but if you're someone that goes into a crowd and you come home and you're drained, or you go to a store and you come home and you're just drained, or you actually take on the moods and emotions of other people just by being around them, whether good or bad. So you can go to a crowd and those people can lift you up, and you can be, if you're around the right people, you can be vibing high for days, okay? This is a good thing. You can also be around one negative person that can bring you down to their level, and you can spend days trying to get out of it if you don't have the right tools. So that's clairsentient / empath as well. Now, meeting someone and upon meeting them, having a gut feeling, and this is different than claircognizance, but having like a sickness in your stomach or a feeling in your body, responding with your body. I think that's a better way to put it. Responding with your body to someone's energy is absolutely a sign of clairsentience, okay? And we all have this. This is one that we're often like, oh, I wish I would have paid attention to that. Why didn't I listen to that when it came to me the first time? It could be about a job. It could be about a person. It could be about a situation, whatever. It's our body tells us things. There's a saying, the stomach acts as a second brain. But really, guys, it's your solar plexus sending you signals. Your solar plexus acting as a second heart. That's how I see it, because I see that we should be thinking with our heart chakra versus our brain, if that makes sense. So not thinking with your heart can sometimes lead you in the wrong directions, but thinking with your heart chakra combined with your solar plexus, which literally just brings us back to intuition. So using your intuition daily and aligning it with the very earthly response that you have. So in other words, we can use our intuition as a tool. It doesn't always have to be logical mind. It doesn't always have to be intuition. But when you put those two together, you are a force of nature, honey. So seriously, start to use your intuition coupled with your, with the knowledge that you already have, and you're going to see miraculous changes, miraculous shifts in everything, I promise you. So, okay, back to clairsentience. So meeting someone, knowing that they're just not a good fit, or being around someone, they make your stomach hurt, or being around someone and they light you up, and knowing like, that's probably my soul fam right there. I need to go talk to that person, okay? I've had clients where I get on, one of them's on here right now, that we've got on the phone, and it's like, we've known each other for years. Our first phone call, like never talking before, and it's like we've known each other for years, and it's just that comfortable every time. Sometimes you just know. Sometimes you just know that people are your people, and then other times your body will tell you, no, this is not a situation for you, this is not a good thing, this is not the person for you. That's your intuition speaking to you. You've got to listen to it, okay? So let's see. Any final words about... So anxious and unexplainable mood swings, very sensitive, cares deeply for other living beings, be it the trees, the grass, the bugs, the dogs, anything. So clairsentience too, and this goes more with being an empath, but clairsentient, the extremely empathic / clairsentient people do have a habit of getting sick more often than the rest of us, because they're taking on so much energy to their physical body, and they're not sure how to purge that, how to get rid of it. And so whether it's the energy of another person, whether you have old energy stuck within you, old stories stuck within you, hurts, wounds that you have not processed and moved out of you, what happens is, the way that I see, I'm going to try to articulate this for you, the way that I see it when I'm doing a reading, is I'll see it like layers of mud that have long since just stacked up in the body and stacked up in the body and stacked up in the body. Well, if you're not working to clear any of that out, if you're someone who tries to sweep everything under the rug and it's like, I choose to avoid confrontation because I don't want to deal with it, or, this is too painful for me to look at, time will heal it. I think that what happens is it starts to push down and it creates a weight, and then it creates a concrete. So like you have mud that's compacted over the years, creates like a concrete-like substance. That can happen in the body too when we're not working through our own emotions, our own wounds, our our stories, not purging other people's energy. So for the work that I do, I did not clear my energy daily, which I do a couple times a day, to be honest. And it's not because I don't love my clients. I absolutely love them. It's because I am not going to be of service of it to anyone, including myself, if I don't release other people's energy. So after a call, I always thank the person, I always thank their team, I always thank my team, and I just let go of anything that's not mine. And so we can all do this throughout each and every day. You can do this at work. I used to do it during my work day. I used to do it after my work day. It's very, very important to do this, especially if you're a clairsentient, empathic person, because you will take that on and it can start to cause physical symptoms as well. So just something to keep in mind. This is a really cool one. So just like with clairaudience, I said you can be sitting there and all of a sudden you can just hear, a different sound or like a high-pitched sound that nobody else is hearing. With clairsentience, you can be sitting there and all of a sudden it can feel like the pressure just changed in the room, like the room just completely shifted. And what's really cool about this is you probably just felt a spirit guide or a spirit come in the room. So if you want to dig deeper into that, I definitely have some ways to do that. But that's a really cool one that I think if you start to bring an awareness to your clairsentience, when you're sitting there, you're hanging out, you will start to notice like, ooh, something just happened in here that nobody else noticed. Didn't faze anybody, except maybe a cat if you have one. Cats are very, very intuitive. Okay, so claircognizance, clear knowing. So this one is that gut feeling, that gut knowing. So clairsentience is more of like that feeling. Claircognizance is more of a knowing. And I know I need to do this. I don't know why I need to do this. I need to do this right now. I have literally been in a grocery store before, things in my hands, standing in line, and I will feel just a wave rush over me, and I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go. I mean, it's happened like once or twice, but that just to give you a situation. I have been in multiple situations where I just knew something, and then that thing has come true. There is, the feeling of knowing what someone else is thinking. So it borders the line of like telepathy. I think of it more of as claircognizance, as being in tune with someone, but knowing what someone is thinking, knowing what someone is feeling, knowing what you need to say, knowing what you need to do. In other words, it's a knowing, it's a truth that you cannot shake. And if you shake it, if you try to ignore it, your body will, like, for me, it feels heavy. If I try to ignore a claircognizant hit, I will just feel heavy. I'll feel kind of gross. I'll just feel like I just won't feel right. I won't feel like myself. So you just know something. A fun way to use this is to ask yourself a question, and I bet this has happened to you too. Ask yourself a question, and then all of a sudden it's like, you know the answer. You have the answer, or it happens a couple minutes later or the next day, but you just know it. And I'm not talking about remembering something. I'm asking I'm telling you you're asking how to solve a problem, how to solve an issue in your life, and then all of a sudden, here's the answer. You've got it. So a lot of people confuse cognizance with clairaudience. And clairaudience is actually hearing. Okay, it's mostly internal, but it's an intuitive hearing. Claircognizance is more of a download. So people who connect with angels a lot, or really high vibrational spirits, they tend to get downloads versus actually hearing the message that's coming through. So to give you an example, when you're hearing something, you can take a deep breath and you'll hear a conversation. So if you want to kind of test this, like, am I hearing this or is this a download? Interrupt it and ask a question. Pause, observe, see if you get a response. If it is a download, if it is an airdrop into you, it's not going to stop. And also, you're not really going to have the time to stop it and ask a question. It's just going to keep going. You're just going to keep knowing things, okay? You're just going to know what to do, know what to say. So when I'm giving readings, I usually start by doing notes. And before I ever get the person on the phone, as I'm doing the notes, I'm channeling. So I'm doing automatic writing, which comes through by clairaudience. As I'm writing, and I'm feeling something, so it's like Spirit's doing the work while I'm writing. As I'm feeling something, I will jot that down too, because that's my claircognizance coming through versus my clairaudience. I hope that makes sense. So that is extremely helpful to know when you're trying to decide, like, that's the biggest thing I get. I don't know if I'm claircognizant. I don't know if I'm clairaudient. It's just a matter of figuring out, are you downloading it, or are you receiving it? Are you hearing it? Okay. So, yeah, that's good too, Leslie. Yeah, that makes sense. So clairaudience is word for word. Claircognizance is knowing it instantly. It is, or again, like it comes in through like a download or an airdrop, maybe a couple minutes later, maybe a day later. And so a way to test this, and this is a really fun exercise that is in one of my courses, is when you're driving, okay? Like, well, I guess we're all not driving a lot right now, are we? But when you can think of a time when you were driving, or when we get back to going back to work and back to your routine, and for those of you that are driving and are still at work, try using this. Try thinking of, like, okay, what would be the best way for me to go today? I know the way I'm supposed to go. What would be the best way for me to go? And then just feel where you're guided. Are you pulled left? Are you pulled right? Another way that I'll do this is, my husband always says I have the worst sense of direction, but I don't. I just use my claircognizance. No, I don't tell him that. But no, I have a habit of feeling like I need to go somewhere, and I will end up where I'm supposed to end up. So I am one, because I'm very visual, I'm like, hey, I use landmarks for giving directions. The McDonald's on the corner, if you get to the McDonald's on the left corner, you've gone too far. But I also remember that, and I use that with my claircognizance if I'm ever lost. And I do get lost a lot, okay? So I clearly don't like to use my GPS that much. I get lost a lot, and so I will use my claircognizance, and always, 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 I end back at the right spot, or even better, where I'm supposed to be. So I've done this with beaches. I've found like secret beaches this way. It's just a really fun exercise. I use this when I am on the beach and I'm looking for a sign. So, I teach you can ask your spirit guides for a sign. A way to use your claircognizance with this is do it as an exercise. All right, guys, I want to find a piece of sea glass. Lead me to it. And then just follow the clues. Like, follow the journey. Don't judge it. Don't get too worried about it. It's supposed to be fun. And that's another thing. If you're working on your intuition, if it becomes work, give it a break, stop, take a rest, talk, go do something fun, go do something down to earth that's going to get you grounded. The more resistance you create, the harder it's going to be for you to connect. And that I've learned that for myself. And when it does get too hard and you're not getting anything, you can always just ask for a sign that you're on the right track. You'll get that sign, and then you can just back off for a couple of days. But just like 2 or 3 days, not too much. Okay, so claircognizance, you know what people are about to say. You think of someone, and then you run into them. What's really been on my mind lately is... I've had a friend that's really been on my mind lately, and I deleted my personal Facebook account a couple weeks ago just because of everything that's going on, and all I want to do is check on her because she has been on my mind, constantly, and I haven't talked to her in a really long time. So part of me wants to just jump back on just to check and see if she's okay, but this claircognizance happens as well. We will think of someone, and then they reach out to us, or we reach out to them, finding out that they were thinking of us too. Or in the case with the first person that I heard, I was sitting in my office. So here's a great example of all of the clairs coming together. I was sitting in my office when I worked at the office, and I was trying to do expense reports, like the most analytical, down-to-earth thing that you can do. I was trying to do like a stack of expense reports, which I loathed doing, by the way. And I'm working, and I keep feeling tingles on my arm, and I have tingles on my wrist. And I knew that was from my guide, but I'm like, I just really need to get through this. I need to get through it. And then I'm hearing this name, Johnny. And I heard the last name too, but Johnny, over and over and over and over. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm 20-something years old. I haven't heard about or from this person since I was 12 years old. It was my first boyfriend, guys. My first sixth grade. My first boyfriend. And I'm hearing his name over and over and over. We weren't friends on Facebook. He had moved to Colorado at the end of sixth grade. Weren't friends on Facebook. Didn't have any mutual friends on Facebook. So I just Googled it, or I searched him on Facebook. Nothing came up. Then I was like, whatever, I'll just Google his name. And all of a sudden, I see his obituary pop up. First I saw a mugshot, then I saw his obituary pop up. And my body went numb. And as soon as it did, I saw him jumping up and down in my mind. And I was shaking, I was numb. It was a very good moment in that it was clear, and it was very validating for me that I needed to trust this stuff and I needed to listen to it. Like, there was no more doubting it. That was my last thing. There was no more doubting it. But then at the same time, I'm sad because I realized, like, my first boyfriend or my friend had passed away. Like, it was very mixed emotions. But this is how it all comes in. They will use your clairsentience, your claircognizance, your clairaudience, and your clairvoyance all at once to give you a message. And sometimes it's very subtle, sometimes it's very in your face. But I do invite you to, when something is very persistent, look into it, especially if you're doing this work, okay? So now let's talk about, how we can channel these gifts daily in everyday lives, like just right now, like hanging out at home. You don't have to get into meditation. You can use this, and you should use this throughout each and every day, okay? So people who are clairvoyant can see all perspectives, see all sides of a situation. And when we start doing this work, sometimes we even get frustrated with ourselves because we're like, I'd like to actually just be mad right now, but instead I'm seeing the higher perspective. I'm seeing their path, I'm seeing my path, I'm seeing how our souls are aligned. You can like go down this rabbit hole. But the point is that clairvoyance will give you the bigger picture. It's not always about seeing spirit. It's not always about seeing colors or seeing your spirit guides or going in meditation and going on some visual journey. You can use your clairvoyance to plan things, to plan a room, to rearrange furniture. You can use your clairvoyance to see and notice when someone is lying. Same as clairsentience, you can use your clairvoyance to see all perspectives in a situation, to see a heightened perspective. This is an exercise that I do. It's kind of an advanced exercise, but for some of you that have been doing this for a while, I invite you to try it. And this was given to me from Spirit a couple months ago. I'll visualize the situation, myself included in the situation, if I'm included, or for me it was first given to me in a reading, but we'll use ourselves. I'll visualize myself in a situation, and then I'll visualize my spirit going higher and higher and higher until I am visualizing above the situation, until I am seeing the big picture, until I can see this way and that way and past, and just looking at the bigger picture of everyone involved and calling in my higher self. And then I always, always, always am given the answer or a different perspective, a higher perspective, and I come to peace with whatever it is, and I shift out of whatever that is. I hope this makes sense. If this doesn't make sense, please tell me. But I hope that it does. So clairvoyant people can see past perception. They can see different perspectives, a higher perspective. It's more than just seeing spirit and seeing colors, okay? It's a lot more down to earth and can be utilized every day. So for clairaudience shows up when people unload on you. Like I already said, their soul just knows that your soul can help. And so the way that you can tap into this is start doing the exercises to enhance this gift, and even just start noticing when you're talking to yourself. Like take a step back and observe. Start listening to these conversations when you're in the shower, when you're washing your hair. This is my favorite one. Like I always ask my guides and myself to come to me in the shower. I'm like, oh, what do you guys have for me today? I'm not joking. I do this. Okay, so for, we already talked about your claircognizance, just allowing it to guide you. Play exercises with it, allowing it to guide you. allow yourself to have fun with this and to ask, like ask your spirit team, lead me here, show me this, give me, align me with the people that I need to be aligned with. Or a really fun exercise, since many of us are at home right now and many of us are living this slower paced lifestyle than we're used to, think of someone that you haven't talked to in a while that you would like to talk to. Think of someone, like I just said, someone that keeps popping up for me. I'm a little bit worried about her, but someone that an old friend or a relative that you haven't talked to in a while that you would really, really love to connect with. Visualize yourself speaking to them. And then over the next 3 days, watch and see if they call you, if they text you, if they post on your timeline, whatever it is. It's a fun way to play around with claircognizance and your clairvoyance at the same time. So also to let you know, anytime you do a visualization exercise, you are strengthening your clairvoyance. So, okay. Let's see. I'm almost done here, guys. Sorry about the dogs. So understand that with these gifts, you do not have to become a medium. You do not have to become a psychic. You do not have to give readings, but you can still be of service to others. If you are someone who people come to often, you can start to utilize this to actually help them more. And in this time that we're in, it's so important, you guys, to get to know ourselves and to vibrate higher so that we can then help other people to do the same thing. So if someone's coming to you and they've got all of these worries and all of these fears and these what ifs, you might now, knowing what you know, doing the work that you are hopefully going to do, understand that like, hey, I can look at this from a higher perspective. I can help them. What is my claircognizance telling me right now? What is my clairaudience telling me? If I sit down and I visualize it, what am I seeing? And just have a little bit of a different perspective, a higher perspective, and be a light for that person. So, guys, the reason that I did this today is I want to create this spider web effect. I didn't want to sit and talk about all the negative crap that's going on right now. I wanted to give you something tangible, give you something exciting to do, and to just like play around with. Get to know yourself right now. That's what we're here for, okay? So as I was talking about my client earlier, we're not supposed to be doing much. We're not supposed to be pushing. We're not supposed to be stressing. What we're supposed to be doing is getting to know ourselves. And in this, we get to know our higher selves. That if I had one wish for everyone in the world, every single person in the world, it would be to get aligned with your higher self, to know your higher self, to know how much you are freaking loved by the universe, by yourself, and just to see like you treat everybody so wonderfully. You'll do anything for anybody else. You don't treat yourself that same way. But when you do, when you start to say, I love you when you look in the mirror, when you start to say, you know what, I know you're trying your best today, girl. When you just start to talk to yourself the way that you would talk to a friend or a child or a spouse, your world will start to shift. You will start to see these intuitive hits come more. You will start to be led. People will start being nicer to you. Opportunities will come to you. And this is not magic. I'm not joking. I'm not pulling your chain or yanking your chain, whatever it is. This happens. This changed my life because I decided that I was going to get to know myself. I was going to learn to love myself. I was going to learn to get happy. And honestly, you cannot truly be happy without learning to care for yourself, which means without learning to create that relationship. I don't want to say connect because there's so many people that are happy that don't know how to connect with their higher self, but they are aligned with their higher self. Does that make sense? We need to do that right now because the more we light up for ourselves, the more we light up for other people. And it has a ripple effect, a spider web effect, however you want to say it. It goes out and out and out and out and out. And that's what people need right now. So take the stuff that you learned today and realize that, let me see, what other ways can we use this? I'm just seeing if I forgot anything. So the other thing is, this does help to relieve stress and anxiety. For me, it was because I constantly had, like I said, I was having those nightmares, I had feelings of being watched. It was feeling like there's always someone around me pulling at my energy. And for me, it was spirit. For you, it might be something different, okay? It might be just learning how to protect yourself from the energy of others, learning how to clear out that energy from others, learning how to tune in and heal your inner child and do the work with your inner child because she freaking deserves it. And all that stuff from childhood, clearly it's not healed because it keeps coming up at random ass times. So now you get to sit down and you get to heal and you get to purge it all. And then you get to feel happier. And then you get to teach other people how to be happier. And just, I could go on forever. This is my favorite subject. I feel so refreshed just like teaching this and talking about it. It's been so long since I've actually just taught a class on these four clairs specifically. So there's so many ways that this can serve you. It can relieve stress, it can relieve anxiety, it can make you happier. It seriously creates a blissful experience, like especially when you get to that point. And if you've gone through this, you know what I'm talking about. You get to that point where you're just on a natural spiritual high for months. And nothing can break you. Nothing can bring you down. You're just feeling freaking good because you know without a doubt you're loved, you're supported, you're guided. No matter what happens, you're always going to be okay. It's all good. It's the best feeling. And you learn to trust. You learn to trust yourself. You learn to trust in the divine plan and spirit. You get to meet your spirit guides. It's just really freaking wonderful, guys. Okay, let me see. I'm going to go and read some comments now. That's all I have to say. If you have questions, go ahead and drop them in now while I'm reading the questions. Okay? Hi, Lucille. Thank you for writing me. So I am actually still having, well, it's a different sale, but I just started a sale. My coaching is on sale for 15% off, and all of my courses are on sale 33% off. And actually, I might have something that you would be interested in. So I just launched it this morning. I did want to tell you guys on here today. So because I had that really profound, blissful meditation this morning, I'm offering something that I haven't offered in 3 years. So I offered it once 3 years ago. It was amazing, phenomenal, and I never offered it again because I turned it into, well, I grew my intuitive development course with some of the lessons in there, but I'm doing an intuitive boot camp again. And so in boot camp is all things, spiritual, cover everything from spirit guides to how to connect, to do if you're not connecting, if you're not getting anything. The different clairs, we touch on those again. We cover doubt. We cover just about everything that I cover in every one of my courses. Obviously not as in-depth, but it's for anyone who's ready to dive head first into understanding their intuition and into, how to work with spirit, how to utilize this every single day. But it's also for those that have been doing this for a long time and you just want to realign. Like realign with yourself, realign with your spirit team. Not so much a refresher course because we're diving deep, but I've expanded it now. So it's 3 years later, but I'm expanding it to include, how to deal with the heaviness of everything that's going on, how to lift yourself, lift your vibration. So we are literally we're covering manifesting, we're covering spirit guides, angels, loved ones, we're covering the psychic stuff, but we're also covering the different clairs, how to utilize this in a really down-to-earth way. So Lucille, that might be something that you want to look into. I literally before this just launched it. I was so creatively inspired this morning that I got more work done in like 2.5 hours than I have in the past 2.5 weeks, if I'm being honest. That's what happens when you're aligned, right? So the spiritual or the intuitive boot camp has not been available for 3 years. It's only available, I'm only taking registration until April 13th because we're starting on the 14th. And it's going to be a series of 4 live calls, and they are all going to be recorded, and they'll be sent out to you. Oh, and there's bonuses too. So you'll get the Spirit Guide course for free, the Recovering Empath ebook for free, and the Crystal course for free. Let me see what else. You're welcome, Maria. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being here. I think you were here last week too, or the week before, so I really appreciate your support. I know that feeling too, Melody. So that is also, so you're saying, Melody said that things tend to happen to her when there is no one around to clarify if they heard it or not to. So, you know, one major that I didn't say that I should have said, and I always say it, it's like my mantra, my favorite. So the more you open up, the more you will open up. Meaning, the more that you trust, the more that you work with these gifts, the more that your other gifts are going to open up, just naturally follow suit, and the more that Spirit's going to give you. So the more that you trust that you just heard something or you received something, the more that Spirit will give to you. I joke and I'm like, yeah, my spirit guide will send me 50 signs, and I'm like, can I just get one more? But I mean, that's something we all do. But the truth is, the more that you trust it and you learn to just go with it, the more you will be divinely led. And so that's just this high vibe that I've seriously been on, you guys, the past couple weeks, where I'm like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Everything's going to be okay. We're all okay. I love everyone. I love seeing the kids play outside. I love seeing, you know, people spending time with their family. Like, it's just, you just get to a place where you honestly know without a doubt in your heart that everything is okay because you're always effing supported. Always. So, so if you are hearing things when no one's around, you can also try just asking for more. Just, I would definitely say, like, say the mantra, and everyone should say this no matter what. I'm only willing to connect with those in the light, those that are here for my best and highest good. I just heard a sound, and I'd be willing and open to hear it again. And see what you get over the next day or so. You are so welcome, Michelle. And I just want to say thank you, everyone. I think this is I don't know, man. I just feel so good. I feel like I finally returned to basics, like what I started this entire thing for, what I started my blog for, what I started teaching for. It just feels really, really good. So I want to thank all of you for being here with me today, supporting me. If you're not in our Facebook group, please go get in the Facebook group, because I jump in there oftentimes and just check in and try to inspire. It's my goal, right? So, and then of course, the website always has new and free content, new blogs every Sunday. And like I said, right now, coaching is 15% off. Courses are 33% off. And then, you guys, you're not going to want to miss the bootcamp, because I don't know if I said this before or not, but it sold out, I think, in 2.5 days last time that I launched it, because seating's limited. So it's really fun. So I'm also going to give you with that all of my notes. Like, there's PowerPoints, there's everything. I'm really hard on it, and I love it. And like I said, I'm expanding it and adding to it this time around. So I'm super for that. It's going to be just like this, except a lot. We're going to dive deeper. So I love you guys so much. Thank you for supporting me, and I will be here in comments for a few more minutes in case anybody has anything. Dogs can sense spirit. Okay, Caroline, I'll answer that in just 1 second. Lucille, dogs can sense spirit. Cats are really good at it. I don't have cats, but they are really good at it, as in they will like chase them. They'll like see spirit and like chase them. So if you see your cat like just running and you're kind of sensing something's going on, you see a cat doing it too, like you can kind of bet that's what's happening. With my dogs, so that room that I always mention from my old house, I was in there rocking my son one night. I just talked about this the other night too. It's so funny. I was in there rocking my son one night when he was a newborn. It was like between 4 and 6 in the morning, and my husband wasn't home, and the chair faced the closet and faced the wall. So there were no windows. The only window was behind me. The curtains were closed. There were no shadows or anything. and I was already feeling uneasy, and I'm like rocking him, and he had woke up screaming, which is why I was in there in the first place. And then my dog comes in, the one that I just kicked out a little bit ago, and he's next to me, and he's like, his hair standing up, which it usually doesn't. His hair standing up. He's growling and barking, but backing away, like he was scared, really, really scared. So I took that baby and I ran out of there. And then I think it was like the next day I learned how to I like smudged my house. I put bay leaves over the door. I like salted the doorways. I did all the things to get rid of whatever it was. And actually, I felt great after that. I never had any more problems after that. So yes, dogs can. And you'll even sometimes see dogs like, it's almost like they're playing with someone, like they'll be wagging their tails or getting like really excited, and that oftentimes what's coming through right now is like a grandfather. So I don't know if this is for you or maybe somebody else on the call, but like I'm seeing like a dog that's kind of like running around playing, and it's like a grandfather or something. I feel like a male figure just like kind of running around in a circle playing, as in they're being visited and they can tell. Okay, so let me see. I would say, so if you're meditating, if you have any intention to connect, whether it be with your spirit guides or not, I would always say I am only willing to connect with those in the light, those that are here for my best and highest good. And then because I do so much spirit work, I always also involve the best and highest good of my family and all involved as well. But definitely just say make sure you're always including I am only willing to connect with those in the light, those that are here, those that love me unconditionally, those that are here for the best and highest good. Okay. Oh, Lucille, I'm so glad. So, okay, you guys, well, I'm going to jump off of here now. I will post the link to the boot camp here, and you can always reach me at ashley@lightloveandspirit.com, in the Facebook group, and on the website. So I will talk to you next week. Bye. I love you guys so much.